Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And what's on screen is a chart of all the carriers in the spectrum they have currently today. It might not be 100% accurate, but it gives you guys an idea of what the carriers are working with for the rest of this decade. Unless there's another spectrum auction or some other spectrum that comes into the market, this is what the carriers have. And we know recently AT&T struck a deal with EchoStar, and EchoStar put it out there very, very clearly. AT&T is going to be able to lease that spectrum right off the bat. They just had to initiate the lease, and boom. Now we're starting to see it being deployed. We're starting to get it through the maintenance windows. There's a master list. It's USC, the US Cellular Spectrum, the EchoStar Spectrum, and then Sonic Wave Spectrum that's being put on air. I still don't think people understand the importance of this for AT&T and what it does for AT&T. The amount of performance increase, the boost in speeds, the site avoidance perhaps. There might have been sites needed in some areas that AT&T had already been planning for, put on the purchase request tool, whatever the case, or site acquisition as they call it. And now it's no longer needed because of this boost in capacity. So that all gets factored in. In some of these areas, I'm telling you guys right now, some of these mid-sized markets where AT&T doesn't own fiber, they do have wireless, they don't have the share, I'm telling you, those speeds are going to be blazing. Now, some of you might still like a little bit more densification, some sites here and there. That'll come again, but if the market share doesn't call for it, it's going to be tough to get it, to that investment for further densification. So if you're struggling with certain indoor, the reach, the penetration, that's probably not going to change. Maybe if the capacity allows for it and they just up tilt and they just blast the signal, maybe you get lucky. But other than that, I wouldn't expect in those markets where the market share is not up to par and there's really no real growth, I wouldn't expect them to all of a sudden just densify like crazy, right? But in the markets where they have fiber, the convergence is working, they're growing the share little by little, right? They can see, okay, this year we'll get here. We can predict we'll get there next year. We continue to grow solidly. They will invest, they will densify, they will add stuff. But this spectrum as it stands is going to help alleviate a lot of, maybe, I wouldn't say there's congestion today. There's some maybe, but slowdowns. Like if there's small slowdowns, maybe you're getting 600-700, now it's 300-400. Now you're going to get that additional boost of speed. You're going to be back up to 7, 8, 9 a gig, maybe higher, depending. And then that's going to have to come with some backhaul upgrades. They're going to have to provision higher backhaul on those sites. With the higher spectrum, they're going to have to provision higher backhaul to take advantage of it. And then FWA will come into play, Internet Air, they will sell it more. It'll gradually scale, it'll be more available. So all of that is the domino effect of AT&T getting this additional spectrum. And then next, you kind of look at the opportunity that's ahead for AT&T. They're in third place, postpaid share. Can they become the price leader? Can they cut price? Can they be more aggressive that way? All of that is probably being discussed internally. Regionally, in the mid-sized markets, could AT&T possibly launch different plan pricing that's not available nationally? All of that has to be taken into consideration because you can compete like that. When you have the capacity that AT&T will possess, especially if there's offloading onto fiber, man, they're going to want to load up that network. They're going to want to load up the capacity. When everybody gets off work and they're offloaded onto the fiber, that means the wireless network is, I don't want to say empty, but it's less used at those times. You're going to want to load up that capacity for sure. So there's a lot to come. There's a lot more to come from AT&T. Definitely be on the lookout for that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride because AT&T just still has to figure out some stuff. But Stanky said they have all the right tools now to make the plays. They just have to execute. So stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.